My name is Nicole Daniels, and I'm the Director of Creative Production here at Nectar. I help facilitate all of the awesome stuff that we do on the creative team. We have videographers, photographers, graphic designers in this studio that we have in Denver. I just help make sure that everybody is equipped with the plan that they need to create the best work. My background is in e-commerce product photography. First things first, we usually start with research. We research the brand, their product line, previous campaigns that they've done. We look at existing artwork or existing, pieces of design or photography. We meet with the brands and we establish where they would like to go. And we talk about previous experiences with not only just agencies, but creative teams. A lot of brands have had negative experiences with creative teams. And so we like to understand where they're coming from, maybe where their fears are, their hesitations lie, and make sure that we don't, number one, repeat mistakes that they've experienced in the past, or we can overcompensate in certain areas to make sure that they're really comfortable. But yeah, just communicating with those brands face to face, I think, is one of my favorite parts of this job. And actually the creatives are included in that as well. So we all just get to collaborate together and create a plan for awesome creative that aligns with not only what we would like to see as an agency for this brand, but also what they'd like to see for their own business. Main images are one of my favorite things that we do, and it seems like they're so simple. A lot of times we hear brands say that the main images are so simple that they'd like to do them themselves. I always like to push back a little bit and say, if you're going to invest money initially into creative, main images is probably one of the best places to allocate a budget to, because that is how you get your customer into your listing. Without a quality main image, you may be missing a lot of eyes on your listing altogether. So for me, main images are super important. We maximize main images by lighting them really well. That is really, lighting is my bread and butter. Like, it has been my entire life. I love lighting, and our photographers love lighting. So we use studio strobes to light every single main image that we take in the studio. It's high quality, really clean, crisp light. It creates visually interesting, dynamic image that's vibrant with colors. It's very clean and crisp. There's nothing blurry about it. Those images set themselves apart from the vast majority of images that you're going to see on Amazon. That is just one thing that we do. We also plan out the image composition to fit perfectly within a 1:1 ratio. We know that Amazon main images are squares. Utilizing the majority of the real estate we have in that square is another one of our goals as we plan out. And it's also how we maximize the impact. We make sure that our main images are not only vibrant and bright and clean and clear, but they're also large. They're taking up the majority of the space that we're given. We utilize that space to the best of our ability.
There's a lot of information that gets taken for granted. And I think we even put out some articles, some blog posts on some tips for doing good main images. And anybody who wants to try to do so, go for it. But really, you say good lighting, and you don't know good lighting until you've learned what good lighting is. People take for granted what that actually means. We can define it for them. But if you put a side-by-side photograph of a Nectar, well-lit, clear, full real estate, square product image versus what somebody else, with all of our advice, does, it's still night and day between a good photo and a great photo. We already know we have a case study that says for every new product photography we do for a product, we get about a 20% higher conversion rating on that specific product. And that's an investment that just keeps on giving back.
The secret behind professional looking photography, it is not the camera. It's nothing but the quality of light. Light is what sells an image. The lighting that we use here in our studio is very high quality strobe lighting. You can take an image without artificial light. However, the standard in product photography really is you have to have strobe lighting to be able to create sets specifically made images, because we want those images to be very bright and really impactful. If I could recommend any piece of equipment, it would definitely be a strobe light. And then there are hundreds of ways to modify that strobe light with light modifiers. We have so many different kinds of modifiers here in the studio. Sometimes we buy them depending on what kind of product we're shooting. Sometimes we actually make them. There's a lot of ways to manipulate light, but really it all boils down to quality light. It's really important to maintain shadow. If we got rid of if we got rid of shadow, it actually cheapens the image and it cheapens the product. It looks as if it's floating, it looks as if it's been manipulated in some way. The goal really for us is to create an image that looks like it was photographed right here in this bright white space. It's grounded, unless we purposefully make it look like it's not grounded, but for the most part, our goal is to make it look as natural as possible, and shadows is a way that we make it look natural. Also, shadow is part of light. It's the absence of light. So when we are lighting something, we're actually lighting specifically for the shadow as well, not just the product, because the shadow helps us. It can help us, describe different things. It can also help with tone. If we have a very modern brand, we can have a really harsh shadow. If we have a brand that's a little bit more on the conservative side, we would take that shadow down a little bit. There's a lot we can do to speak to our consumer with shadow. It's actually almost the same, no matter what kind of product. We really follow the same type of structure. Finding out about the product is our first goal. We will meet with our brands and learn all about not only the brand itself, so we can visually get everything correct, but learn about the products themselves. We become experts in these products. We want to know every button. We want to know what everything does and all the features and what's important to the consumers. We even go as far as reading Amazon reviews to find out the things that the customers who have purchased this product have questions about, or they are concerned about or unhappy with. We can actually shoot a product in a way that will help increase the reviews, because we can share information that we're finding maybe was lacking in the previous listing. So really diving into the existing listing, finding out what the consumer thinks about the product currently, maybe what their expectations were, looking at the old listing, and better aligning new customers with the actual product and what to expect. We also, after we meet with the brands, we meet with our strategists to make sure that everything that we create is aligned with, any kind of advertising strategies or brand strategies, things like that moving forward. And we also plan out colors, or we'll order props, hire models, or book locations. That depends on, what kind of packages is chosen. But after we figure out what we're doing, that's when we move forward with all the details and we get everything ordered. Sometimes we get in the car and we go to the store and shop for what we need. It just all depends on the needs of the shoot. There's a lot of different ways of categorizing product photography. How we think about it at Nectar is we like to know where these assets are going to live, where they're going to go. We don't want to just shoot a whole bunch of photos and hand them to the designers or to the brand and say, here you go. And then there's either way too many assets or not enough assets to complete the job, right? There's a lot of things in Amazon that we need to be shooting for. The main image is one of them. Shooting specifically for the main image is really important. So that is one place that we specifically shoot for. The PDP itself, which has multiple facets, but the listing images, infographics, that is one part. And then we've got the brand story and A+. Listing images, we typically will shoot any kind of detail shots. This is the customer's eyes and ears, right? Like they can't feel the product, they can't pick it up. So we need to make sure that we're giving them as close of an experience as they would get if they were to be purchasing this item in a store. We want them to be able to see the different things. Sometimes when I'm planning out photos, I'll pick up the product physically And I'm like, if I were buying this, like, what do I want to see? And we'll focus our attention there, shooting there. So there's that. And then we've got the brand story, we've got the A plus, and also the brand store. These places do really well with lifestyle images or styled images. So we like to be able to plan these to use models if we can, any kind of props or realistic environments. These are really good places for those types of pieces of content. So we'll shoot specifically for those areas, banner style, so really long images or groups of images, not just one product, but maybe a collection or something that gives a consumer like a nice snapshot into the entire brand. There's a lot of planning that goes into those as well. So there's a lot of different types of photography, but we really focus on the places the photography is going to go and build content around the use.
A few months ago, you put on LinkedIn a photo of some ice cream, like an ice cream cone. But it wasn't really ice cream because that would be very tedious to work with in a photo shoot. What was it that you actually used?
It was actually, yeah, it was actually frosting. And sometimes you can even mix some like cornstarch into it to make it even fluffier. So yeah, we use all sorts of fun tricks to make food specifically look better than it does in real life, or make it last longer than it does in real life. If we shot with real ice cream, it would have been in a huge mess. Well, the frosting was a big mess, but it would have melted everywhere and ruined our set.
Are there any other like little funny things that the rest of us wouldn't think of that you guys are doing?
Yeah, there's so many. We cheat literally every day to make things look good. You know, nothing you see is real. Social media and product photography alike. You know, nothing's real when it comes to food. At least we were just doing a breakfast scene actually for one of our clients, and we had to photograph this griddle with a breakfast on it. And the eggs are really important to have looking good. And we couldn't source any fake eggs, you know, like a fried egg that looked good. So we decided that we were going to figure out how to make them look perfect. And if you would like to know, what you do is you get your griddle really hot and you just crack the egg white onto the griddle and you let that cook. And then you drop the egg yolk very carefully into the center of the egg white. Let that cook for just a teeny little bit and then slide it right onto your product. And it looks like the perfect, you know, over easy egg.
I would have never thought to do that. I don't know that anybody would. Thank you, Nectar, for being so spectacular. Anyway,
we figured it out on the fly. We were trying to figure it out, and we had cooked a couple eggs. They weren't working, and we thought maybe this would work, and it did. So if anyone else needs to cook an egg, that is how you do it.
What about, we do so much work for like household bedding brands. Mm-hmm. And I imagine you've taken a shot or two of a made bed.
Yeah.
I mean, that's got to be a tedious process, prepping a bed to be perfectly smooth and the crumples just in the right direction and all of that stuff.
We just, it does take a lot of time. There's a lot of steaming involved. There's a lot of stepping back and looking at this and figuring out, is something off? It really is just paying attention to the details, learning as you go. Clearly, you can't learn how to style every single product imaginable. A lot of it's just learning on the fly, but paying attention to detail really is the way to do that. You know, making sure things don't look funny. If there's a corner of something that looks wrong, again, you can fake it. You can roll up some tissue paper and stuff a corner of a pillow, or, you know, there's so many different cheats that you can do to fix things that you wouldn't do in real life. Looking for the problems in the set and finding the solutions is really all we do. We plan for the best. We use our experience in the field to know that nothing is going to go perfectly. Something will happen, something will get dirty, something, you know. So we plan ahead, right? We bring multiple of each product. Our models bring multiple outfits We bring all sorts of different kinds of equipment, understanding that potentially if we haven't seen the location before we shoot, we are ready with any type of situation. We actually just did a shoot in a cabin up in the mountains, and we didn't have an opportunity to see the location, which isn't ideal, but that was a situation we were in. And we got there, and it was so small. It was teeny tiny, barely enough room for the creatives and the models to move around. And it was really cluttered. So we strung up lights in the loft and hung things and really, really rigged up the environment to be able to light it appropriately without having all of our equipment showing in the photos. So sometimes, there are just things that you can't expect, but to expect the unexpected. And as long as you're prepared for anything, you're not going to be in a situation that's super terrible.
You're gonna make it work. You're gonna make it work. We get lots of testimonials, and the thing that we continue to get testimonials about are in fact the product photography. Lots of testimonials about how good Nectar makes products look, how good we make a brand look, make it pop, if you will. Because on Amazon, it's all about standing out, because Amazon's the only marketplace online. Well, there's lots of marketplaces online, but if you have your own website, you can make your stuff look however you want. We do that too. We take the same attention to detail for that. But on Amazon, there's the chance that your product is going to stand alongside an alternate or the same thing from a different brand. So it's very important that it looks better.
Yeah.
And these testimonials say we do.
We do make everything look better.
We make everything look better.
Cool, right? We make it look better than your competitors, and we really elevate it to the best that it can be. Not only, our goal isn't just to make something look better than a competitor, it's to make it look good. We are not just Amazon photographers. Our backgrounds are with some very prestigious brand names, where we've come from a world of product photography that's extremely elevated. And our goal is to elevate every brand. And that's really what's been missing on Amazon for a lot of years, is quality content. And thankfully, Nectar cares a lot about elevating brands and elevating their assets. And our boutique experience really does give you just amazing photography that helps optimize your listings. And then so it's not just better, right? It's better than your competitor, yes, because they haven't put forth the effort to make their Amazon listings. The likelihood of them doing that's very low. So it's very easy for us to elevate the look and feel of your product.
Thank you so much for taking the time to answer these questions. You've given me a lot of insight into how much it actually takes to do good photography, and some neat hints and tips that I would not have thought of. That come up that you take for granted, that our entire creative team takes for granted. Our team is so talented. We do such a great job. And you in particular are such a talented photographer doing great work for our brands. I'm going to let you get back to it because you've got so much. You guys are always so busy. And this is never convenient to do this. Thanks again. And I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Matt.
I'll see you again. And for anybody else who wants to know about what we do for creative, for account management, for PPC, videography, graphic design, all that stuff for Amazon and or Shopify, come to thinknectar.com. We will help you out, and slap that contact button. And if we can't help you, we'll point you to somebody that can. Thank you.